college, I threw every single day. Of course you want to be a champion. Of course you want to be working towards winning titles.
Be happy, but never satisfied.
Better than ever.
Welcome back, Ultimate fans. Fourth game of the day in our 5 straight stream schedule today. The 2023 Ultimate Championships. We're tuning in to our open final. Winnipeg's General Strike taking down Furious George in semifinals, and they are facing off Goat, who took it over Phoenix on Universe Point. We are here in the beautiful Surrey, British Columbia at the Newton Athletic Park. Located on the beautiful traditional lands of the Semiahmoo, Katzie, Kwantlen, Quiquitlam, Kaikite, and Tsawwassen First Nations. A lovely place to watch this game, a lovely place to call this game, and I am feeling like the band is back together because I am here with the one, the only local 613 All-Star, Theo Wan.
Clay, thank you for that intro. This is going to be an exciting final. We did the one last year when General Strike took down Alberta Rumble. So this is an exciting game for them because it's a chance for them to repeat as champions of the Open Division. We thank you again for tuning in and taking in all the streams today. Hopefully you're lying back in your chair, having a nice cold drink and enjoying this action coming at you.
Strike the team in red. Goat the team in white. Strike will be pulling from the left. Theo, take it away.
Goat's offensive line, they had some struggles against Phoenix. Had a chance to watch that one during my bye earlier. They're going to have to be pretty consistent in this contest if they want to be successful. It goes without saying. Get a first look at their offensive line. Komire with the disc now. Finds Edwards on the under. Goat loves to run plays through that side stack. Getting it over to one of the captains, Ian McKenzie. O'Donnell looking for options. Inside shot to Thomas Edmonds, who goes deep looking for James Lewis. Mark Lloyd in coverage. Some bumping, but coming through for the grab is Luke Comire. And Goat gets the hold.
Lewis probably could have made a foul call there after that bump, but good teams always back each other up. If the disc is floating, a player's experience, you can kind of tell sometimes if they either kind of stand around and ogle at that disc in the air, or if they hustle down to the end zone to make that second effort. And that second effort paying off for Goat. So not a contentious call or anything, just our first hold of the game.
Clay, you were on the mic for the General Strike Furious game. Well, for those just maybe tuning in now and didn't catch that semifinal, what was the key to success for the side from Winnipeg in that win?
Yeah, Furious George was running. So we talked about a little bit on the stream earlier in that game. Furious George was running a very small ball, give-go offense. They've kind of changed their playbook as a team to recognize where their strengths are. Strike adapted to that really well. They played really, really tough one-on-one defense, specifically on the handlers. Furious was a little predictable with their handler cuts near the end of the game, always doing a dump backwards and then streaking across the field. And Strike seemed to figure that out as the game went on. And then just making some key defensive plays, getting up really early over the super athletic star players of Furious. Just Strike went up early all the time.
Jeff Boris, a Team Canada member, centering over to Jesse Greenberg, center to offensive line to get things going for General Strike. Big bid there. Some physicality from Wilkie Lewis on Quinn Snyder.
Here, a apology from Lewis right away to Snyder there. He says, "My bad. I thought I had the lane. I certainly didn't, and I had that contact there." So good for Lewis to recognize that that was somewhat dangerous, and he does receive the yellow card for that from observer Jeff Blair.
Snyder with it. Big time player for this team. You might see him cross over potentially along with Stephen Crew, number 8. Rocking the hoodie right now. This shot going up deep from Burden, looking for Ladyman against O'Brien. And Crew trying to clean up on the second effort. Can't make the grab, muffed it a little bit.
It looks like Ladyman made the second effort, and Crew had a line on it, and Ladyman just knocked it a tiny little bit. I mean, like I was saying before with Goat, Crew was there as backup, just as Goat had done in that end zone, but Ladyman didn't know that, made the second effort, and actually knocked it out of Crew's hands.
Jeff Powell, longtime veteran of this Goat squad with the disc currently. Now over to I could say the same thing for Andrew Carroll, another
Yes,
veteran of this Goat side.
Yeah, Carroll, Powell, been with the Goat crew for quite a long time now, kind of staples of this team. This stall count is going to come in on 4.
Quinn with the disc now currently for this Goat side. O'Brien, a rookie on this squad, previously playing with Ottawa Phoenix, so kind of fun that he helped dispatch that squad in semifinals earlier. Mike McKenzie finds Jason Huynh, but there's a pick.
Yeah, pick called by Jesse Greenberg there. Mike McKenzie trying to check in with Greenberg there if that was legit, but Greenberg making his case. I think it's going to be, at the very least, a stoppage. You know, sometimes the pick, you might say, well, that player was going to receive it anyway, and this is what looks like happening. In fact, I think it's just retracted altogether. So nothing will change as Jason Huynh has the disc.
Thought about it, but hits Keith McRae coming down the open side. First break opportunity from either side in this contest. And another pick is going to gummy up things here and some of that momentum for Goat.
It's vertical. If you're playing vertical, picks can happen, especially if a few cutters are trying to be the look at the same time, the opportunity. Vertical is really difficult to avoid the picks because you have to be very organized as a unit down the field, that as the front of the stack or the middle moves vertically up and down the field, if everyone else stands still, suddenly you're really jammed up together and a lot of picks happen. So
Jason Huynh, otherwise known as Sparkles by his teammates, finds a diving Mike McKenzie. And they're working the break side right now effectively, our Goat, getting it all the way to the other side of the field, working laterally. Carroll bursting out of the stack for that pass. Keeping to the break side with O'Brien. O'Brien has stepped into a big role for this Goat squad throughout the year, as they played a couple of U.S. tournaments this season as well. Lewis, mere yards away, finding Quinn on the open side, and Goat, gets the first break.
Sparkle, sparkle. Quinn getting that goal. You know, it's funny watching a Goat play. Theo, watch them in 2019, saw them play yesterday, and Andrew Carroll, just nothing has changed. He's always ready to come back from the stack, whether it's horizontal or vertical, and get that swing, that dump, that reset, what have you, for the handler, and nothing has changed in his repertoire there. He's so quick. He accelerates so fast. You don't see him actually juke too much. He just runs. He accelerates, and you're like, okay, bye, Andrew. And, you know, coming under and just a dependable reset for Goat really kept their vertical stack, you know, chill after that, a few pick calls there. So kind of anchoring that up. Well, I wouldn't say anchoring that offense, but definitely playing a pivotal role in it. So with that first break, you know, it's interesting. In our open division, we haven't really seen any teams getting a few breaks and then running away with the game between our heavyweight teams. It's been a game of runs in these matches.
Secondary D-line out here for Goat. You could run out multiple strong D-lines. You're going to be successful. We've seen that in the U.S. club scene with New York Pony, for example, as same offensive line out here for Winnipeg with the crossover in Malik O.J. Samar, the former Mephisto player, towing the line and keeping it in bounds. Number 71 in red, also playing for Chicago Machine in the U.S. series. Snyder, marked by rookie Dax Miller as the disc gets moved over to Ladyman. Going down the line or to the middle of the back of the end zone. O.J. Samar trying to tow it. And the observers ruling it in. A great shot. And General Strike gets on the board.
O.J. Samar, a hero in the game earlier today against Furious George. Elevating so early in his defensive plays in that game. He came down with some massive plays right at the goal line stand. And towing that line just to keep it in. Our score now should be 2-2. Is it 2-1?
2-1.
Oh, excuse me.
Strike getting the first hold of the game there for them.
Sorry about that.
But they needed that hold there.
Yeah,
Craig,
they
because
did. Yeah.
you can't go down 3-0 in the final. The crowd's starting to get bigger here, okay? For those at home, you can see it on your screen. Some games have ended. There's another round to be had, but that's going to make the good atmosphere for the women's final later. I think it's going to be even more electric because then all the games are done except for that one.
Yeah, that's right. So the thanks to all the rescheduling we had to do, if you don't know why, it was due to some environmental events. We have wildfire smoke blowing in here. We won't be able to play tomorrow with the air quality. So our women's final was rescheduled from yesterday to be our last game of the day today, starting at 6 o'clock.
And we get all the finals here, so it's pretty special as James Lewis taking on Mark Lloyd there. Mark Lloyd, big active Mark. Finds Ian McKenzie. Ryan Polaz. Might not always get on the stat sheet, but does a lot of anchoring. Same thing with Luke O'Meara in the backfield for this Toronto side.
Here, Powell from the sideline, letting everybody know they got to hit the air round. Goat wanting to take it, well, Powell anyway, wanting Goat to take advantage of that break side.
O'Donnell now. Little jukes from Comire, but great defense from the sticky Quinn Wilson, making things difficult. I was really impressed with him when he was at the University of Manitoba. And seeing the same thing here on General Strike, also part of that U24 Open team that a few of these players were part of.
You said that sticky defense from Strike. That was one of the keys in the game against Furious today, was just really making those handlers work hard. And we're seeing it again here. Strike finding their stride with that gritty one-on-one handler defense.
Nick McFadden, a U-Manitoba star himself, on the mark against Polaz, as O'Donnell and number 18 work a little give and go. Now Edwards. And all these picks and things happening, really stopping the momentum for the teams on the field and for us here in the perch, in the booth.
Yeah, it is tough. We get so zeroed in on the play and then stand up, take a breath. Okay, another pick. It is vertical offense. It's common.
Edwards gets Comire, who squeezes free up the line, and then a little dishy flip over to Polas for the hold and a big kick spike from Comire. Trying to fire up the team, you know?
Yeah, trying to fire up the team. Someone should let them know that we're running low on game discs.
Are we?
Yeah, and those game discs have been provided by one of our sponsors, Discraft, for this tournament. Discraft discs, you must make them really well. The reason we're running out is because after a particular phase of this tournament, we were missing many game discs. Questions have been asked, but we're just down to our last few here. So you make a great product, Discraft.
That's actually kind of funny.
I'll mention our other sponsor though while I have a minute. Be Apparel, Be Awesome, Be Ultimate, Be Free. They are a fantastic apparel company that has provided the staff with our awesome polos. And they do have a tent here. It will be closing down tonight. They won't be here tomorrow. So if you still need to get down here and get your swag, do that. Otherwise, you can look for apparel in general or from this tournament online on their website.
So we saw General Strike get broken in their first offensive point, able to get the clean hold after that. So let's see what offensive line we get this time around in possession, as Burden collecting to the O-line center handler for this team, Jesse Greenberg. He's part of a U24 team a few years ago and part of that legacy for this program, churning out these junior and then senior team stars for the national program. Great move to get free from Huynh, who's a great defender in his own right. Snyder, loads of room as McKenzie choosing to back number 98 right now, knowing his deep prowess in the air. It's not a pick this time, Clay. It's a foul, though.
Yeah, it looks like as Crew was trying to get free from Lewis, Lewis may have got his arms in there and tangled Crew up a lot. That foul call brought to you by hand signals. Please keep using them. Thank you, Lewis, for doing that. Foul, no contest. And we're back in.
It's like our third official sponsor is what you're telling me.
Yes.
High stall. Lieberman has to rip it over to Crew, and he's going to put this out for Snyder. Will he get there? Yes, he will. What a grab from Quinn Snyder. His 13th goal of the tournament.
The snap decision by Crew to let that loose. He hadn't even fully kind of regained his balance. He just saw it and ripped it. A big flick of the wrist there by Crew to get that down. I want to highlight Crew on that point and for the way he played last game. He really hasn't been stopped today. It's early in this game, but in the Furious game, Crew was always there. He was always open, doing the work. And now so far in this game, we see him making big plays. He is definitely going to be a pivotal player for Strike in this game.
A captain, a leader for them emotionally as well. A do-it-all player, can throw it deep and also work in the under spaces. And was talking to Rob Burns, one of the coaches of General Strike. And if you see some crossover from offense to defense, you're going to see Stephen Crew out on the field. He plays a big role for this team.
Yeah, a fiery player, an athletic player. No problem for him what line he's on.
Comire milking it. Oh, thought maybe too much as Quinn Wilson almost got there, but a travel call going to move the disc back temporarily. James Lewis getting it to the other side. Two sets of siblings for this GOAT team, so we'll use their first names throughout the contest. Ian McKenzie now. You can see the bodying of Quinn Wilson and Luke Comire downfield there.
Yeah, Strike really putting the bodies on the defense.
Polas looking for Comire. Lloyd is there. Jump ball. And Lloyd gets the block.
Lloyd, such good positional defense. You don't really expect anything less of him. He's shown us what picture-perfect positional D looks like time and time again. He's a very physically strong player, high stature, pretty imposing when he's playing against you one-on-one situation for a sky ball like that.
And of course, if you know the name Mark Lloyd, you know he's played for Goat in the past. And so it'd be poetic for him to take out Goat's hopes for a championship. Is this throw going on for Noah Hoffman? He's going to go two-hand strong. Noah needs a reset, finds Duquette. And now OJ Samar with it, the two Quebec imports for this team. Great lockdown D from Polas, forcing a high stall throw and potentially a stall down.
I'm hearing Ian McKenzie say, stall down 100%. Stall down 100%. He's not backing down from that. O'Shea Samar is going to think it over. It is very, very difficult as a player. When you get to stall 8, you're going stall 7, stall 8, stall 9, stall 10. Very difficult not to speed your count up. So the observers feel that, no, there was a fast count there. So that will stay with number 9, Liam Gutkin. Another call. It's like Wilson getting knocked over by Luke Comire. And a discussion ensues. The crowd unhappy that we're still talking.
I mean, that offensive possession for Goat, Quinn Wilson was really using that right arm to come almost armbar Comire a little bit. So I'm sure they're going to see each other in the matchup throughout this game.
Yeah, that's only legal in Masters, not out of a move, but out of a necessity.
There's a lot more injury timeouts in Masters too, right? That's what I
That
heard.
is true.
I heard at CBC Masters 1 point had like 4 subs or something.
Yeah.
4 injury subs, I should say.
4 injury subs, yeah.
It's not uncommon.
Stalling 3 with Gutkin.
General Strike trying to get this game back on serve here. Gutkin has Jose Samar go to the break side. It will work out as General Strike gets their first break of the game.
The score, 3-3. Now, you're seeing that grit and tenacity from Strike right now. Seeing a lot of bodying. I mean, Theo, you have to imagine the confidence that Strike has in their game right now. Like, it's a difficult thing, I think, from a coaching perspective to tell your team, you know, you should feel confident. You just took down Furious George in the semis in pretty, you know, showy fashion. Like, you were a dominant force in that game, and you just sort of unseated a dynasty from the finals. Furious George has never not gone to the final. This is the first time they're ever not
Fun
in
fact.
the final. Yes, ever. They have lost once, but they are always in the final. This is the first Canadian Ultimate Championship in history of Furious's program where they're not in the final. And you know Strike has to be feeling that. But from a coach's perspective, you have to say, know you have that confidence, know the kind of player you are. You can't ride that and say, oh, because we beat the Angry Monkey, we're going to take down the GOAT here. But at the same time, you know, very validating for Strike. They are in the big time here.
I mean, there were murmurings, right? That, oh, this team won a CUC that didn't have some of the big dogs at the tournament.
That's right.
A Furious, a GOAT, and they're trying to show that, hey, that championship was obviously not a fluke, and we're going to try to go for a two-peat here. Ian McKenzie looking for his brother who's crossed over from the D-line. The speedster gets the score. A little flip spike at the end. You know, that's Mike McKenzie's style as GOAT gets their 4th goal.
Is the style.
I'm not saying it's right or wrong. I'm just saying it's his style.
I must say, though, there's your partner on the podcast did remark to us in the junior phase of the tournament that hold on to the disc until you see the observer signal. There was actually an instance in a semifinal where a player spiked it or put it down or did something when actually they were not in, and it was a turnover. And then the ensuing confusion, they ended up getting it back somehow. But You know, I don't want to take away from Mackenzie. He was pretty clearly in, but you never know. And in a final, that is the last place you want to make that sort of mistake.
Just imagining later on, you know, it's close to crunch time, and someone spikes it just outside the end zone. It's happened. It's happened for sure. So
It's happened.
you got to be sure of when you score. As Tyler Sadler set to pull, and offensive line back out for General Strike. I thought that might have hit the ground, but it looks like Burton did catch it. We saw Wilkie Lewis closest to us thinking it might have.
Zone look from Goat here.
Yeah, watching that Phoenix game, they will run this zone look a bunch with Dax Miller on the mark, who has just called a travel, as the players are going to keep going, but this is going to come back.
Reenactment.
Always.
I support them. Just to say what they did, the travel is the maybe only one where I'm like, hey, you weren't looking at your feet. I don't think you know as you were kind of moving whether you traveled or not. But you have our team in orange here. And it is an observer ruling by Walter Kwong that it was a travel. Here, big cheers from the crowd. Red Circus must be here.
Red Circus has been I'm going to say the East Coast teams, Regiment too, are very vocal. So we do appreciate that East Coast hospitality, we'll say. Zlatic, who's one of the ears on the zone, had a huge catch block against Phoenix earlier. Went fully horizontal to make the grab in the zone. Greenberg that one almost hit the turf, low grab.
Strike being very patient here, and we saw this a lot from them in the Furious game, moving it laterally, but then when they try and go up the field and punch it through, Goat is there to make the defensive play. That was Brian Bequo with the D. And there's a foul called down the field. That was Greenberg against Dax Miller. And some more visual aids here as they work out how that went. Greenberg, at this point, finding himself at the center of a few tableaus of what just happened on the field. Looks like that's retracted.
See if Goat with some of their big D-line stars like McKenzie and Powell can get a break. That's going to build a lot of momentum for you. Finding Kevin J now. Double fours in white. Resetting it to Sadler. Big around looking for Huang, but not going to work out for Goat.
The wind has been coming from the grandstand to our faces all tournament. It's really forcing OI throws down to the ground quite quickly. About this flat zone, it's really interesting. They go for these D's on these high shots.
And Greenberg finds Snyder for the score. Second goal of the game for number 98.
So not exactly the plan for Goat there. I mean, what these zones, this style of zone is all, hold on, we're running it back. I see observer Kwong, he's waving his arms. Never mind, maybe, kind of. We're waiting to see here.
I mean, all the players.
Oh, there it is.
All the players are left the field.
Yeah.
That was a little bizarre. Yeah. All the players are left the field.
I think it was a call that was retracted, but the observers didn't know. And when the observers hear a call, they don't signal goal right away. They'll point in and check in with each other. And it seemed that Kwong there had heard a call that was later retracted.
It was not a travel call, we've been told by Coach Rob Burns. It was actually a not in called.
Yeah. Coach Burns has been really active in making sure that I don't throw any jinx or curses on his team today. But hey, I want to get back to Goat Zone for a second. So the flat zone that Goat was running there, the idea of it is to make sure that there's someone straight up in front of the handler to stop the huck. And then you have the two people on the side, the other two defenders on the left and right of that mark, sort of poach up in the lane. So they're trying to make you throw laterally over and over and over again, and then put a lot of pressure on any throws that go up high. So you can move it laterally pretty easy, but then if you try and punch it through, there's everyone to snack on that, everyone to make an opportunity, whether it's get their hands in the way and kind of get that no-touch defensive pressure turnover, or get that run-through D like we saw, or the layout D like we saw last point. So it's really one that sort of tends to suffocate offenses into their handlers, and when they go for the up the field, that's when they make mistakes.
Classic split stack look here. A play that a lot of teams run. They've gone to their secondary look and now a reset. O'Donnell working very quickly right now with pace. Finds a clap catching James Lewis. Lewis looking for Edmonds. And that's going to work out for Toronto Goat.
5-4 the score. Goat leading by 1. What a throw there by the Goat thrower. Sorry, who was that throwing, Theo?
James Lewis.
James Lewis, his throw just absolutely sat for Thomas Edmonds. Edmonds was going deep through coverage, and I think because the coverage was there, Strike didn't believe that that was a viable option, but Lewis's throw kind of over their heads. It was low, but not too low to get defended, and just got out in front of Edmonds. A perfect placement, and taking kind of, well, what the defense gave him. No one really bought that that was an option to Edmonds, and Goat took advantage of that.
Edmonds, his 9th goal of the tournament. And we talk about additions for teams. We talk about who do you add in the offseason. I mean, we talk about General Strike. We'll get to their additions, but adding Thomas Edmonds, he was there at the World Ultimate Club Championships, but having him here at this tournament is a big, big thing for this Goat team. He'll be playing in the USAU series with Truck Stop from Washington, D.C., but
okay. All right.
Who had a narrow loss to Pony at the U.S. Open recently, but bringing his talents over, and he's a big part of this offensive line, and they're going to need him throughout this game. Now, horizontal stack set from the team in red.
Match defense this time.
Seems like when they have this first D line out there, it's more match. And what a block coming through is Matt O'Brien going horizontal to make that play. And Go trying to get a break back here. Quinn picking up. Lewis getting stuffed by Crew. And McKenzie had a step or two on Snyder, but there was a call.
Yeah, there looked like that McKenzie might have swam. Well, maybe not. I actually think it was a pick. He made his cut a little too close to the thrower and the marker. And they can also be setting a pick inadvertently.
Quinn now going around for Lewis. Wilkie Lewis, the younger brother, looking for Powell. Burden coming through with the block. What excitement here in the open final, folks.
Burden is so explosive. He is going to take an injury on that one. This turf isn't forgiving, but let's not talk about that hurting. Let's talk about that hurting Goats offense. I mean, Burden, sometimes I wouldn't say he's unassuming on the field, but he plays very chill. He's got his knees bent. He's always low to the ground, able to do a burst cut, but then out of nowhere, sometimes you're just like horizontal clutch layout like that. And he's known for it, but you don't see it coming.
Throw going up looking for Matt Ladyman. He gets the better of O'Brien on this occasion. Needs some help here, but the stall count hasn't come yet. Going break side, looking for Quinn Snyder on the doorstep of the end zone. We'll find Jack Murray instead of Stephen Crew was calling for the disc, but either way, General Strike gets the hold.
Stephen Crew, the bait on that one. Getting at the front of the stack, calling for it. Defenders dropping on him and then forgetting about the guy in the back. So an easy dish there to tie up the game, 5-5. That clutch defense by Burden there was him getting back the throw he tried to make through the middle. That's kind of 2 times in a row now that we've seen Strike start to get pushed backwards, start to get stifled, and then they just try and punch it through. And Goat snacks on that. That's 2 in a row. But Burden getting that one back and keeping this hold alive. Much needed for Strike. They were up and they were up on Furious in that game the whole time. Furious did start to come back, but they held on to their lead. Now they're down a point. Doesn't seem to be affecting their game at all. Once again, that's that composure we've talked about.
You have that championship moxie now. They've been silver medalists before 2017 against this very Goat side. And they're trying to change that here today. Edmonds now. Here the shooter calls as he's going to launch the disc. Edmonds head nod. Had James Lewis going deep with Hoffman in coverage. Going around for O'Donnell. Polaz has Edmonds going deep, but instead underneath throw to Edwards, who continues it to James Lewis. James now with the disc and finds Komire, who gets it just before the line and going down the line for Edwards. Extending the arm, but can't make the grab to the cheers of the crowd. I think it might be a little pro Winnipeg. I don't know.
Yeah, it might be pro Winnipeg. That throw was flat at the beginning, but then it had that OI edge and started tilting, coming over on that bottom edge, and the wind, like I mentioned, coming from the grandstand towards the bottom of your screen, just pushed that out of the way as he was extending to make that catch.
McFadden now finding Quinn Wilson. Two big D-line grinders for this team, looking for O.J. Samar now. He's going to power back, and Hoffman had not run, but he makes the grab anyways. What an athletic play from Noah Hoffman. And now Quinn Wilson. See if Strike, if things gumming up, elect to call a timeout. No team has used one yet. And now, as I say that, he calls a timeout.
Well done, Theo. Kind of reading what they might want to do there. Noah Hoffman had a very huge grab. Very huge. Just a huge. Sorry. But a huge grab in the Strikes game against Furious. Some things happened after. We won't talk about that. But Hoffman
Did he turn it over?
No, it was worse. But we're not going to talk about it.
Okay.
But right there, Hoffman able to elevate as he did before, especially when he didn't see that throw coming. Turning on the Jets to get down there and kind of catch behind him. So keeping that play alive for Strike. This is their chance to break and take the lead. And as they got that momentum in the Furious game, once they had the lead, they even had more energy and confidence behind them to just play like ballers. So this could be a giant momentum boost for General Strike here, but Goat, no stranger to tough situations.
In 2019, this General Strike team was dispatched in the semis, and it wasn't particularly close in that contest for them. And then at UCI in 2021, they had not the greatest of results for their program, but bounced back, of course, last year with the championship. So
Strike was bounced out by Goat in 2019. Is that right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
Rumble was the other semifinalist against
Furious. That's right. Yes. Yeah.
So Clay and I, little living ultimate encyclopedias for you. So this is a big defensive O point here, or defensive point, offensive possession, because just to have that lead, that momentum, the crowd's with you right now. You can hear it. But as I say that, James Lewis coming in for the block. He's going to say, no, not right now. Edmonds now. Finds O'Donnell what to make the grab. Throw not placed where it was supposed to be.
Good switch there by Strike.
Little give and go as James Lewis has Polaz going deep. But a nice little Oyo throw to Ian McKenzie. Lots of time here for Komire with no stall count, no mark as of yet.
Komire not thrilled with that bump. And Jeff Blair getting in there. I kind of like, we've had some players ask, why are the observers there? I kind of like Blair getting in there and saying, hey, stop talking to each other about why you didn't like that. Start talking to each other about if there's a call. If there's a stoppage, you need to be discussing a resolution to the call. You can't be telling each other that, hey, man, I didn't like it. So, the observers are, I think people forget, the observers are here to keep the game moving. and want to make sure that players, when there is a stoppage, are attempting to reach a resolution, not just discussing why they think something was particularly unfair. And you get the call from the crowd, Jeff.
Not a player on the field.
Yeah.
Comeria finds Ian McKenzie, who dials up the hammer, looking for Edwards. And that's going to work out.
Score 6-5, GOAT leading strike. Close final here for you fans. And I would say that point belonged to James Lewis, making a huge defensive play. And did he get the goal? No, he didn't get the goal.
JJ Edwards.
Sorry, Lewis. I was hoping he got the double happiness there. Great point for him. But Edwards reeling in that hammer with ease. You know, Theo, we've talked about the hammer throw when you're close to the end zone. Is it a throw you're okay with as a coach or a captain or a teammate, as an audience member, as a broadcaster? And I think we've reached a level now where we can say, if you have that in your arsenal and you execute it well, there's no problem with that being plan A.
Often you see it as plan C, high stall.
It's true. I mean, and that's the difference, right? For a team that is able to use everything in their arsenal and execute it well. Most league plays, or if you're at kind of a lower level of ultimate than these, elite teams you have in front of you, you are usually only throwing a hammer when you've run out of time and you're at a high stall count. These teams have throwers that say, hey, I've got an open receiver on the break side. I can just toss this over everybody's head. No problem.
Zone look here from the D-line that we normally see in match.
Yeah, that's right.
Thought there might have been a call because players were stopping to move. Or stopping moving.
Oh, yeah. Well, they'll play on. Everyone seems okay.
Throw going up. Burden is there. Has Murray as a safety valve if he sees him. But there's great coverage from McRae on Murray. Crew inside shot, the vision, and almost caught by Cohen on the McKenzie block. Greenberg flying through, coming up empty. Fast and furious action as this throw looking for Wilkie Lewis. But Crew's defensive pressure denies GOAT that opportunity.
Credit to Matt O'Brien for getting down there as backup immediately. There's a foul call called by Lewis, I believe. Oh, no, it was a travel call against Crew.
The crowd is what makes a game like this special, right? Because there's the chirping, the cheers. I want to see when someone makes a foul call, if I hear the Charmin chants that usually you hear.
I don't know
for being soft. So Charmin.
Oh, ultra soft?
Yeah. So Charmin ultra soft. You might hear that. I'm not advocating for it. I'm just saying that I've heard it.
It could be something.
I'm just saying I've heard it at tournaments. That's all I'm saying.
That's all you're saying. So it'll go back to Ladyman on that travel call, it seems.
Cohen now. Last year's MVP. Going across the field, McKenzie almost got the block again. But Snyder strong to the catch. Murray churning yards, burning McRae underneath. Can't make the grab, but Crew working
to
quickly.
the rescue again.
Bob McKenzie might have called injury, but play's going to continue. Will Crew make the grab, but the throw to Blady, and now McKenzie does go to the ground. And
that's interesting. We saw McKenzie get up. He didn't make a call. Turnover happened, and he's like, all right, nothing's on the line for me anymore. I can make this injury call. I mean, you see someone like Mike McKenzie with his style, with his grit, he certainly does not want to go off the field. He tried to fight through that, but he looks to be pretty bothered by whatever he jostled there. So looks like Lewis comes in for him. Or was that Thomas Edmonds? Sorry, two players there. Yeah, but Edmonds comes on for Mike.
It's a D point here. It's what we're going to call the D2 now, second possession for the D-line on this defensive point. Some discussion still to be had, and now the disc is going to be tapped in with Jason Huynh jogging to the disc.
We're 5 minutes away from the halftime cap.
That throw for Wilkie Lewis not going to work out. You have to take those opportunities if you're GOAT. Greenberg now with Burden as his reset. Goes instantly to the around. Good corral from Powell to stop things off for now, and then eventually that throw gets off. Great defense from Huynh, but to the break side goes Strike, and Greenberg hits Snyder, who already has 3 goals in the contest.
Huynh wanted that one, but Greenberg showing a little bit of extra energy there. I thought he was done in front of the thrower there. It seemed Huynh had locked him down in front, but when that leading pass went up, Greenberg summoned what he had left to just really dig deep and get out in front of that. And then a really nice quick flip. And that quick flip is a throw that scares me. We've seen a lot of teams kind of get ahead of themselves and take that step forward instead of that step sideways on that backhand and kind of turf it or sky it into the wind, throw blade. But, Greenberg, after that big burst of energy, also able to just go back to his fundamental execution, taking a small step out to his right with his right foot to throw just a nice, easy dish for the goal.
Both teams have had break opportunities. Goats had 2 in the last 2 points or 3 points, and General Strike has had 1. So both teams' D-lines not being able to be as efficient as I think both coaching staffs would like you to have. Michael Kukushka and Pat Russell on the Toronto side. We've already mentioned Davis and Burns for the Winnipeg side. I mean, a few years ago, we'll say even 10 years ago, there weren't many coaches. But now that's a big part of the game. You're seeing it with these 2 elite squads, Furious as well having their own strong coaches. James Lewis is going deep. Lloyd trying to catch up, but it's a great throw just on the end zone line now. Lewis finds Komire for the score. Not sure what happened with the coverage from Lloyd.
Well, what happened was, Lloyd was there. He wasn't far away, but that throw is something that sort of automatically seals the defender out. You're always trying as a defender to put yourself somewhat between the disc and your player. That doesn't mean vertically standing in the middle, but what it means is if the force is, let's say, away, well, you want to be on that away side of your player, so the throw will probably come up in that lane. And there, that throw, while the force was away from where we are, it came around on a blade over towards the home side. Lloyd was automatically on the wrong side to make a play. So great placement on that throw. I just want to say 2 things. 1, we didn't reach the cap on that point, so we're going to take half at 8 no matter what. And 2, what you said about the coaches. It's been, I remarked this, I think a few days ago. It's amazing to look around. I was actually surprised when we were featuring 2 teams that actually didn't have a coach on the stream. I think that was Spawn and Local 613. And those are the only 2 teams that I've had a chance to watch this weekend that are sans coach. It's a very interesting thing now where it's a normal part of Elite Ultimate to have that coach.
Here it's break time chance for this GOAT side. Thomas Edmonds has crossed over from the offense to help maybe fortify some things if they do get a turn, as they've been knocking at the door of a break multiple times now. But I've given the disc back to Winnipeg. Boris is going deep now, working against the very speedy Andrew Carroll. Crew looking for Ladyman. A few GOAT players there, but it's number 5 in red who comes down with it. Burden on the end zone line now. Little lefty backhand to Crew, who toe taps his way to the end zone.
A great hold for Strike. Obviously, you want to score the points. You want to win. That one particularly important because now Strike will either take half and go up. Great. But if they get scored on, right, it's only a 1-point game. And then when you come into the second half, you don't feel like it's going to be an issue. And they are on serve right now. Strike takes a timeout. But yeah, as I was saying, it's, if you're Strike here, it's not well, how do I put this? It is not a huge deal if you lose this point. You certainly don't want to, but it's not as if, Goat could be coming into the second half with 3-4 points on you, right? It's just you're on serve now. You are going to be receiving the pull after the half. So this is a great spot for Strike right now.
I love the timeout call. Because it allows your team to get some of your offensive line players on the field. It allows the current defensive line players to rest up. And we know, of course, this isn't the game, but to get a break and then start on an offense
Yeah.
on the second half, that's not bad.
Yeah. Our commentator colleague, Kevin Underhill, also captain of Furious, likes to call that the organic section break. That's you'll find that in your organic section of your Ultimate Grocery Store. Getting that break and then getting the disc after halftime thrown back to you for another point. So just a great spot if you're Strike. But at the same time, Goat's offense has just been solid this game. Certainly not counting them out. They've had such great hucks this game.
Quinn Wilson with the pull. We have Burden, Crew, and Snyder crossing over from the offense. Duquette and OJ Samar out there with Nick McFadden as well. Standard offensive line for the Toronto side. Lewis coming under, working against Crew. There's Lewis squeezing it over to Edwards on that open side. See if they can get it around with that throw, and they're going to go inside shot from O'Donnell. A little shimmy shake from Komire, and Edmonds then hits Edwards for the score, and Goat takes half. But we're on serve, folks. We got a classic, and you got to keep going and stay tuned because this is a good one.
The score 8-7, like Theo says, that's on serve. If you're just a little shady on what that means, Strike will be receiving the pull after half. And they did start the game on D, so it's not as if anyone is up a break right now. It's just kind of the natural trade-off that you have in Ultimate with the team starting on offense. So, Theo, we're going to take a break. We've got about 5 to 6 minutes here before we're going to be back with you. So stay tuned, fans. We'll see you shortly.
Second half action coming at you from the 2023 Canadian Ultimate Championships, the Open Division final here in Surrey, British Columbia. Toronto Goat up 8-7 on Winnipeg General Strike. The game is on serve, folks. General Strike started on defense and Goat started on offense. Theo Wan here with Clay Howlett. Clay, I said it was a classic heading into half, and I still believe that. What a game so far.
Oh, yeah. This has been amazing. I am having a hard time not showing a little bias here because earlier in the Furious game, as soon as Strike had the lead, the whole time I was like, can they do it? And yes, they can, right? And now I'm sitting here seeing them play against Goat, and I'm like, could Strike knock out Furious George and Toronto's Goat in one tournament? I mean, it's one heck of a story to tell. That you want to tell, that you want to watch, you want to say, I was there for that. Because I can't, that's the closest I'm going to get. So, yeah, it is a classic. I'm excited. And these teams have been trading points. I see no reason why that won't continue in the second half unless we see some changes or just a different energy from these teams, maybe a little bit more or maybe a little bit of a fizzle from one. But I'm expecting it to trade all the way to the end.
This Strike team lost to Goat earlier in the tournament in power pools 14-12 in a very windy affair. A little bit chippy from what I've gathered from speaking to both sides before the game, but nonetheless, a game that produced Goat as the winner. Goat, as we had talked about earlier in the broadcast, taking down Phoenix in the semifinal, and General Strike taking down Furious. And now these two Titans clash. 1 half to go. And General Strike's offense is going to get things underway with Greenberg at the center of the helm. Ladyman thought about the huck to Snyder. And now it's Murray with the disc. Big poach coming. This throw's going to hang, but Cohen will be there. Cohen had a couple of big deep strikes in the final last year, earning him the MVP award, but he's been a little quieter in this one.
Yeah, well, be in that handler set, really being a great anchor for the offense here, along with Cam Burden back there. Burden took off, Powell seemed with him, but it seems that as Snyder went up the line there, his check was picked, so that disc will go back to Greenberg.
Greenberg looking for Burden. Wilkie Lewis trying to close, and he jumps up early, causing Burden to do the same. And seeing if Burden's going to take an injury
to get up. Yeah, so I think, he seems to have a bothered ankle with that, so he'll walk off the back. Lewis did a great job going up early. Lewis was not going to get that. With where he was positioned, he was not going to be able to jump high enough to make the defensive play. But by getting in there as close as he could to Burden and then jumping early, he forced Burden to make a choice. And Burden chose to go up too, and it was too high for him as well. It could have been that Lewis jumped and Burden took a step back, but Burden thinking that Lewis at the latest possible time to jump there to maybe get a fingertip on it did force Burden to jump, causing that turnover.
Colmire is out on this defensive point right now. Same thing with Edmonds. Powell putting Murray in the dust, at least for now. The disc got half field over to Wilkie Lewis. This Goat offense working with some pace here.
Oh, we have a call. Looks like Crew and Lewis are discussing it. That's a dish space foul here. And Crew's trying, I'm not sure who called the foul, but they're both trying to make sure that they have an understanding on the disc space rule here. Crew arguing that Lewis is using disc space and then extending his arms with the disc. So the foul is upheld. So it looks like a call by Lewis. Oh, never mind. I was wrong. It's coming in at 5.
Hammer time. Lots of players under it. Powell was hit as he tried to catch and hit the ground very hard there, Clay.
Yeah, we hope he's okay. Hard to see from here exactly where that contact on Powell happened. Also, this is one of those situations where the foul calls are going to be really contentious. That is the hammer you don't want to throw. We talked about this earlier, that if you have a player open on the break side and you have that throw, you can take that shot. That seemed like it was more in desperation into coverage. And that's sort of the plan C, as we said earlier. And that thrown into traffic, everybody going up, getting underneath it. There are 4 strike players, 3 GOAT players in the vicinity. Contact is going to happen. There can still be a foul, but I mean, it's so hard to determine who was in the wrong or who caused it, Theo, because there's just so much happening, so many bodies in the way of that.
When what we call in the industry hospital pass goes up,
and we
there's
do that.
a lot of bodies under it.
Well, we do that because it's risky and injuries happen, right? I mean, you see Powell getting hurt off that one, so it's a contested foul. So this will go back to Lewis. So this will come in on 6, I believe, if my rule book knowledge is correct.
Yeah, Zlatic on this side here saying 6 as well. I don't think Wilkie Lewis is going to go with the plan A hammer here.
I don't think so.
I see Cohen on Carroll right now. Big block from Crew at the point of attack, smacking you down twice.
Yeah, ran out of time.
Measure. McFadden out here on this offensive point. Crew working a little give and go with Cohen. Now the aforementioned McFadden is free. He was the Huckin A Division I College Player of the Year and Offensive Player of the Year as voted by his peers. So
wow.
You see the reputation that he has on the field for the University of Manitoba. Snyder looking deep for Ladyman, but that throw simply too far.
Ladyman had a great jab step against Mike McKenzie there, and Mike bought that, and Ladyman was open. But, I mean, I've said it dozens of times this tournament. If you're going to throw an OI with the wind able to catch the underside of the disc, it is going to sail very far in front and very far off target of your intended receiver.
D2 opportunity for this GOAT side. Second possession. Carroll bringing Cohen out into the deep space. But it's Powell with the disc now, working against Murray. Edmonds looking deep for Carroll. Snyder coming out the backside and will get the block, completely roofing Andrew Carroll. What a play as the crowd gets fired up from that one.
Wow. I'm having trouble talking. That was amazing. Another huck goes up. Crew is going to get underneath. Wilkie goes up, gets position, and that turnover will stand. Wow, Theo, what a save by Snyder there, though. Just like I said, strike goes up early for those plays, and it pays off.
They're going to need another play right now because this is their third turnover of this offensive point. Great effort from Snyder, but Quinn will get it now. We'll continue to launch it deep. We know that's something they like to do. As Mike McKenzie settling things down over to Komire. Will be fascinating to see if he ends up playing the next offensive point if General Strike does score, because there's a few offensive players currently on the field for the Toronto group. Komire beats McFadden, and he's going to keep going. Why not? Big fakes and finds Quinn for the score, and Goat breaks out a half.
Sparkle, sparkle. Quinn having a great game. Has been an anchor handler, then is able to just shake his check deep there. That puts Goat up to the score 9-7. Strike is getting their opportunities. Now we're seeing mistakes made, though. Their hucks are not connecting. Do you stop hucking when you have crazy athletic strikers going deep for you? Absolutely not, but we've seen the throws just executed not quite to 100%. I mean, sitting in the booth over here, Theo, real easy for me to say that. It is very difficult to make every huck you throw buttery and easy to catch. But right now, that is definitely a difference that's shifted in this game. Is Strike is just not connecting with those deeper throws right now, and Goat is capitalizing on that.
Pause in the action because a timeout has been called. Saw Mark Lloyd closest to us calling that timeout. Makes sense with the scoreline the way it is because you get 2 per half, so they have one in the bank if they want to use one later. But perhaps they're sensing the momentum really changing onto this Toronto side and wanting to settle things down. Jeff Boris on the field, Malik O.J. Samar, Cam Burden, Stephen Crew, Matt Ladyman, Jesse Greenberg, and walking to the line, Quinn Snyder.
Interesting timeout there because it just seemed that there had to be a conference on the sideline for Strike. So that timeout was literally just to give themselves more times between the pull to make the personnel changes. You don't see that one very often, Theo. Smart. I like it. I mean, you don't want to rush too many times. I, have a coach, have got my line not quite set up and I'm looking for a player running out of time and I panic and I'm like, oh, I just call a timeout. I mean, quite a football-esque kind of timeout we see there, but smart by Lloyd to signal that.
This is where I go on my rant about how in USAU rules there needs to be more advantages for timeouts. So you should be able to wholesale sub and have those timeouts be more than just a rest time or a momentum killer, but actually have it mean something to be able to sub out players.
Do you want me to come back in like 5 minutes? You just...
No, I won't rant that long. We got more action coming at you, so we're going to stay with that. General Strike on offense. Need this offensive point. I'm going to say that right now. Down 2 points and momentum clearly on the Toronto outfit side. Zone look. Jay on the mark.
Yeah, this zone, all about that flatness. You allow the lateral movement, and then when they try and get it through your big wall, 5 Goat players there near the disc, you're looking for that punch through the middle where you're going to take a shot and sell out and go for that defensive block.
Ladyman trying to direct Greenberg to where he wanted him.
Everybody's a little... something's happened. Everybody sort of slowed down at their leisure.
See Sadler in the deep space right now with a much taller O.J. Samar. If General Strike gets stuck, I wonder if they're going to punt it to him just with the mismatch in height right now downfield.
But that is kind of part of the plan, right? I mean, it is a one-on-one. It's going to be a 50-50 when he's that close. Goat expecting that strike to happen, so they are backing him.
Ladyman as the stall count rises, going across the field to Crew, unmarked. Snyder now taking a shot at cutting deep as he occupies the deep in Sadler.
You know, patience here from Strike. I mean, obviously you want to be patient with the disc, but this zone is proving to be very, very effective right now. It almost seems Strike is a little pensive to try and find those slots to get it through the wall. They know that is actually the plan by Goat here. So, but there, Burden comes through and crashes, is able to break through.
Good pressure from Turcotte, to stuff out the cut from Boris. Burden going down into the deep space, but it's going to be some dishes back and forth with the handlers.
Still holding this zone all the way down the field. I mean, it is working. You're making Strike throw about 100 throws if you want to score this, right? Half the win of a D-line is to make the O-line get tired. But Strike now finding their momentum, and we see some big contact from Zlatich. Observers already have their cards out on that one, Theo.
Yeah, Mario Zlatich, not a good bid. I'm going to say that on the air. The crowd is not happy with it. I'm sure Jesse Greenberg's not happy with it. It looked like Mario Zlatich as well not happy with it. Knows that.
No, yeah, exactly.
You can see the contrition in his face as well.
Yeah, he knows he messed that one up. We're seeing a sub number 44, Kevin J going off, and Mike McKenzie coming on.
Nick McFadden going to come on. He was on that last offensive point for General Strike and is out here on this one now as a sub for the injured Greenberg, who, based on his body language, definitely not happy with that bid, and I don't think anyone on either side would be. Want to have a clean game, a spirited game, and it has been so far. There's been a couple calls here and there, but nothing too much to talk about.
You know, the second dangerous bid, the second card for GOAT, but also like the GOAT players every time realizing that's not what we wanted. We know better than that. And you at least love to see that spirit, them saying, oh, no, I really messed that up. I hope my check's okay. So McKenzie arguing that he was pushed by Bird in there.
Now, the argument's going to be if McKenzie was standing still, because I often see that when this call happens. If the mark is standing still, then definitely a foul on the offense. But if the mark is moving, then the offense can have the space too.
You know, your partner, Coach Danny Proby, said a good mark is always moving, right? So you're almost never standing still.
That is true.
Right? You really have to post up and be ready to take the hit. It's a very
if you're a static mark,
thing.
that's an issue, is what you're telling me.
Exactly. So, yeah. So that pass stays completed.
Little hammer from Burden trying to get things out, but Crew can't make the grab. And I'm going to say it's dangerous times right now for this Winnipeg side. Huang. Getting it to open side to Turcotte. Turcotte with a little lefty as they're trying to work it to that break side. But instead, it's going to keep going down that flick sideline.
What was the call there, Theo? I didn't see it.
I believe it's a pick called as Snyder is still where he was.
Oh,
and
yeah.
some discussion with Mike McKenzie as well. Burden involved.
Mike making sure he gets all the info before agreeing to a call. I don't disagree with that. There's nothing sometimes where a call is made against you where you're like, I don't know, I'm going to need some clarification. And then once you get it, agreeing after or disagreeing, right? But having all the information to make a proper call is important.
Turcotte is going to go around, finds Zlatic. Zlatic with the hammer for Mike McKenzie. And Goat gets another break. They're up 10-7.
See the big grin on McKenzie's face. Definitely a plan A choice that time. That was a hammer to open space. McKenzie was all alone. You could throw it in front of him just like you would really any other long throw, right? That wasn't desperation. That wasn't trying to force something in. That's, easy opportunity. I'll just chuck this. So good choice there. Score now 10-7. Goat clearly in the driver's seat this half as Strike has yet to score this half. We're seeing, and this is sort of what I talked about at the beginning of the half. Are we going to see any sort of shift? And I wonder if Strike is just not connecting, or if their energy's fizzling, or if they're feeling like their backs are against the wall right now. So we're seeing the same personnel out there. Looks like Greenberg's back on the field.
Yeah, good to see. Good to see for sure.
Our cap for this game is in 13 minutes. It is a soft cap game. Rules, Theo, I believe you checked in, and the cap would have been a little bit different had we not
105.
105 minutes till soft cap. But
if there weren't the situation that we're in now because of the finals being together.
Yeah, the wildfire smoke forced us to truncate today and make the finals slightly shorter. 85 minutes hasn't proved to be a problem, though. It's been a good time slot for most of these teams.
Must score here for Winnipeg. Getting broken twice out of half and time not on their side. Of course, you have to score to win here, so you're not going to get one of those hard cap situations where you might have seen in the past.
Yeah, can't run out the clock.
Yeah, where a team scores and then loses. McFadden going deep, looking for a crew. Dax Miller involved. A couple other players there. Coming around the back.
No surprise. Miller was doing everything he could to get around Crew. Bread Circus hates it.
I think they might be doing the Charmin chance. I'm just saying. They might be doing it.
Yeah, I'm on Crew's side with this one because Miller had to find a way to get around Crew, and he did and made the play, right? But the way to get around him was to reach over his shoulders. There was absolutely contact. There's no way Crew can prevent and sidestep that contact from Miller as he's trying to go around his right, his left, over the top. So observer ruling, observate, I'm sorry they give it, but I didn't see a signal.
I saw the hand signals of Mike McKenzie saying, looked like it was a non-contested foul.
Okay.
At least based on the signals I saw from Mike McKenzie. So unfortunately, the observer's not mic'd up, so we can't hear exactly all their thoughts. Crew to tap it in. Big active mark from Miller. High stall, Scuba finds Cohen for the score and a must hold for strike. Trying to kill some of that momentum right now from Goat.
10-8. Goat up by 2 points. Strike getting on the board for the first time this half. They have played really good defense this game. Now they're finally able to get their D-line out there this half. That could be a chance to swing this around. I mean, well, it could be. It has to be if you're a General Strike fan. This is the moment. Cap's approaching. The other team's up by 2, so that's a lot of ground to make up. You want to get this game kind of in a place where Goat's feeling pressured. And we're hearing it's break time for Strike from the PBH crew, making the grandstand shake with their cheering. So Strike, kind of with the defensive crew we've seen a lot of today. You can definitely assume that their bench has been shortened.
You expect nothing less than the final play, I think.
Yeah, it's do or die, right?
OJ Samar back out there. Mark Lloyd, I haven't seen as much Mark Lloyd as I would like. I'm just going to put that one out there. He almost gets the block there on Edmonds running through. Edmonds looking for James Lewis, OJ Samar, and Hoffman there. And don't look now, General Strike break opportunity.
That defensive play there, that kind of is exactly what went the other way for, I'm not sure if it was that Lewis brother, but, their Strike posted up, got position without a lot of shoving, and forced Lewis to go up early in a place where he couldn't get it. So that time it going in Strike's favor with the pressure.
Quinn Wilson now, him and McFadden have been very important for.
I sense a call.
Yeah, as I was trying to finish the point there, Komire just went to the dust into the ground.
Yeah, observer Linda Kudo, boom, arguing a perhaps purposeful push against Quinn Wilson. I have never seen that awarded. That was a pretty emphatic, you cannot step in and push like that. I did feel that Wilson did push off Komire there.
Mark Lloyd now with it. Haven't said his name too often, so been a little bit quiet for this Strike team. Low throw is picked up.
Well, Lloyd,
Sam Peterson.
Lloyd did get injured earlier in this tournament.
Now he is going deep though, Clay. Clap catches for the score.
I'll just shut my mouth.
We're going to let this moment happen, right? Because
yeah,
we said Mark Lloyd got hurt and then he makes the catch.
Now I'm afraid to say anything else. How about the score? 10-9 now. So Strike bringing this within 1. We saw their D-line get it done in the first half. They get it done now. That was the first D point for Strike in this half. So they're 1 for 1 on their defensive starts. They're going to have to do or keep that rating. They're gonna have to keep batting 1,000. I will say for you, Theo. You're a big baseball fan, but that's the path to win this game. You got to get every break right now. Suffocate Goat's offense. Do not let them back in. You're down, but do not let them back in. And Goat on offense is probably thinking the same thing.
And we've seen what happened out of half. 2 breaks for Goat.
Yeah.
Can General Strike match this right now? The energy and the crowd firmly on the Winnipeg outfit, the defending champions of the Open Division, taking down Alberta Rumble. So now, can they add another break to their break tally? They got 2 so far. The chants continue to be loud at the showcase field here in Surrey at Noon Athletic Park. A lot of open side passes here from this GOAT group right now. Now it's Edwards. We go around to Komire. O'Donnell left that one. If no one was there, that would have been trouble.
Yeah. Pick called out of the stack. Ian McKenzie, wide open, often on a vertical stack. So if you see someone wide open and no one else is moving, certainly a pick call. We've seen GOAT have a lot of picks out of the vertical today. But that disorganization doesn't seem to be translating into any errors in their vertical. It just seems a lot of options moving at the same time.
O'Donnell working with James Lewis right now. Nice fake from Ian McKenzie to move the mark of OJ Samar as he bursted into the end zone.
Now, that stoppage go in the favor of OJ Samar. I mean, Ian was gone. But this does see why it's such an advantage too for Strike is now at number 9. That's Liam Gutkin sees how open Ian is, right? So now he can try and take away that backhand around. He'll probably be okay with an inside shut because it's a very tight window to score in.
Scuba from Edwards is going to work out for GOAT.
The score now 11-9. Strike within 2. GOAT up to with 4, probably less than 4 minutes into our soft cap. This is, if you're GOAT, this is where you want to be. I mean, if cap was right now, and I mean, it's going to come on very soon after this point, no matter what, Strike is going to have to score at least double what you score to win the game. So good spot for GOAT. They're probably looking at this that, well, maybe not. They're looking at this as keep scoring the points. But in reality, if GOAT gets a hold, they're starting this point. All GOAT has to do with the time is what it is get a hold, and they'll win the game. But they're on defense this point. A break would really, really put them in an almost untouchable spot. But even though on defense, definitely in the driver's seat right now.
This offensive line has been a little bit shaky in the second half. And we're going to see if they can rebound on this offensive point. I said it on earlier one, Clay must score, but as you mentioned, the cap, it's definitely must score now. Pole's going to bounce and be centered to Greenberg. Coleman has Ladyman going deep. Stall count rising. Finds a safety valve in Greenberg. Now it's Ladyman past midfield. Murray works a nice under on Powell. 10 yards away is Ladyman. Thought about maybe the flick across the stack. Going to go with the around instead to Snyder. Keep things rolling over to Crew. Great roll to stop the action from GOAT. As Snyder bends a backhand out to Boris. The TCU 24 player finding Ladyman now. Big end zone stand so far from this defense.
Pick called. Down near the back there. So players, you see Crew going back to where he was at the time of the call.
Cohen fakes the around. Needs some help right now. He's going to find Crew. Little shimmy move from Snyder.
Strike getting all the breaks.
Snyder eventually hits Crew. Patient offense from the Winnipeg side. They need that one. Now down within 1.
Score 11-10. I'm going to check the clock here, Theo. It's 5:39, so I do not believe Cap is coming on this point. But, yeah, 1 minute. So Cap's not on. We've got, competitive director Andrew Portwine sitting here with the air horn. He hates it when we give him airtime, so I'm just going to stare at him. No, he's not doing a horn, but he's going to let us know when the Cap.
He's not going to do an in-game interview either.
Yeah. Well, a really important hold for Goat. Strike. Like I was saying, I mean, if the Cap was on right now, Strike would have to break to win. Now, I really did think that the Cap was going to go on before this point. It will go on during this one. So it'll either be a game to 13 or to 12.
On the line right now, Cam Burden. See Quinn Wilson as well. Jacob Duquette, Nick McFadden, Mark Lloyd, Malik O.J. Samar, and Stephen Crew.
Big line for Strike. I mean, those have been the heavy lifters for them in their semi out there for the final. Like we said, we expect no less. Now is the time. You put your best players on as much as they can possibly go.
What a final we got here, folks. Strap in. The last few points are going to be exciting. It's already been a one to remember, a classic. Comire now. Thought about the huck. Hits James Lewis on the under. Mark Lloyd has the J.J. Edwards matchup right now as O'Donnell finds the aforementioned Edwards. O'Donnell just past midfield. Thought about it. Going to go under to Edmonds. Up the line is Edmonds. Same thing with Polaz. Big around as the Goat offense moving. Inside shot. Finding James Lewis for the score. Great Oyo throw. The outside, inside, outside, whatever we're going to call it.
Yeah,
working out.
The OIO?
Well, it's to the inside lane, but that's not outside edge.
My bad. You're right. That's I gotta learn that. All these new things.
It's a new meta throw now, is what I've been told.
Yeah. The inside throw with the OI edge is tough. I believe we are in Cap now, so we will be going 2-13 in this game. I believe we're in Cap. I did get confirmation, so Cap did come on that point. So game to 13. Thank you, Observer Blair, also confirming. So many people there to help Theo and I out get this right, which we did. So Goat can score with the break. Like I was saying earlier, at this point, if you're Goat, you're like, okay, we can win on a break. All we really have to do is hold on 0, right? But the glory to scoring on the break, not allowing Strike to get that momentum, to get back into the game, is still a huge thing. You want to score on this break because you say that's not good enough to give up this point, because that will give Strike momentum. We are going to win on this break. Teams that win on breaks really get that emphatic win. So, Goat wants that with their history and the skill of their team. And we're seeing a big line stay on here for Goat, Theo.
Yeah, I thought maybe they might go secondary D-line with some players that haven't necessarily gone as much burn, but they're going to go with Thomas Edmonds, who's played a lot, done some heavy lifting for them, Mike McKenzie as well. So for Goat, Mike McKenzie, Thomas Edmonds, Andrew Carroll, Jason Huynh, Wilkie Lewis, trying to get an eye on who that is, Adam Turcotte, and Jeff Powell, centered offensive line for General Strike.
I mean, there was a good time there where Goat came together and you had a time to check in with this D-line. Is like, all right, boys, like, do you have this in you right now? And like I was saying, Goat unsatisfied to put out a D2 or a D3 and say, all right, just do the best you can, run them into the ground, then we'll score on a hold. Goat says, no, we're going to win this with our best players no matter which way we're going.
Match defense right now for Goat. Game to 13, as you mentioned already, Clay. In the previous meeting, Goat won by 2. So you know the slimmest of margins between these two squads. Looking deep. That throw's going to be short. OJ Samar comes back for it.
Good read. Pick call. I believe Mike McKenzie making that call against Quinn Snyder.
If you're Winnipeg, you don't need to think about the other points right now. I know we're thinking about it in the booth, but for them, get the hold and then worry about what you need to do afterwards. Nice inside move. That was Jeff Boris. Stack a little deep right now for this General Strike side. Greenberg gonna have to hustle to that one and won't get there. And he's gonna take an injury sub as well.
Yeah, you saw him pull up on that a little bit. He started going. I saw suddenly his kind of bare his teeth a little bit as he made that cut. So hurt something trying to break out to that one. He has had a lot of mileage this game. He's been hit. He's been hitting the ground. So he has just been putting his body on the line. And you see Burden will come to replace him.
It's tough for Strike. They throw the turnover, and then the fans are chanting not a thrower as well in the stands. That's tough. I'm going to say that.
It is tough. I mean, heckling has its place in Ultimate, but it does get to you sometimes.
So now Goat a chance to break for the title. Komire is out there. I misspoke earlier. It was not Turcotte. It's Komire on the field. Komire has a couple receivers. But now it's Wilkie Lewis. Carroll now. Goat trying to win a CUC title. Their first since 2017. Timeout call by Wilkie Lewis. I don't mind that call.
No, neither do I. I think that's really, really smart. You're in the red zone here. You're 1 point away from winning. You're not really going to need your timeouts for anything else at this point, right? Like, you know what you need to do. You've put your best players out there on D, or you can, if you don't get the D point, then you just have to hold. There's no real, like, hey, guys, this has got to be our strategy or plan for the rest of the game. It's obvious. So at this point, you're in the red zone. Give those players a rest. Let them organize. Strike was in position on defense anyway, so I think it's a really smart timeout.
Both teams trying to fire up their respective units right now. Goat knocking on the door. General Strike trying to close that door, at least for now.
3 more times.
Well, it's got to start with the first door closing, right? It's like a game show. You got multiple doors that are open. This one you got to close. It's got to start with some big defense right now. And I love the observer chance for Jeff Blair. He's from the East Coast. So the East Coast Red Circus team giving him some love.
I didn't actually realize that. I didn't know there was the connection there.
I mean, they're not chanting any of the other observers' names. That's all I'm saying.
Everybody looks ready. Stall coming in at 3.
Backhand force right now looks like. Wilkie Lewis finding Jason Huynh. Title on the line. Little shake and bake from Wilkie Lewis. Hits Thomas Edmonds, and Goat are your national champions of the Open Division. They take down General Strike.
Just an amazing performance by Goat in this game and by Strike as well. But Goat was able to get the edge on defensive plays. They start to take advantage of some errors made in the deep game by Strike. Goat just really composed, stuck to their plan, and with a few big athletic plays, were able to extend that lead just far enough. And Theo, putting that D-line on, your best players of D-line out there saying, we're not satisfied with anything. We can score with a D point. Just a massive mental performance by Goat here. Theo, you've given me a little note here, player of the game for each side. You start.
Wayne Snyder was an important part of this team. And I know it's going to be a tough pill to swallow, defending champs going down, but they put in a valiant effort. They had the Winnipeg PBHG side cheering for them. And yeah, they're going to be back better than ever, next time around. And for Goat, who's your player one? Or, sorry, excuse me, not player one, player of the game.
For Goat? That's a tough one. Honestly, I'm gonna go with the Lewis brothers on this one because, yeah, like I'm gonna try to cheat a little bit. They were both quite dominant in the air this game. They got open deep. They made some plays up high for the defense. I mean, everybody on Goat played really great this game. There wasn't anyone really struggling on Goat, right? Everybody played a great game. I just felt that the Lewises really came out and made a big difference this game. And I'd like to give a shout out to my player of the game for Strike. And honestly, the biggest effort, the energy I had was Greenberg. Greenberg definitely, for me, had the most heart in this game. He put it all out there. He showed it. He got hit. He got injured. He had to take a few injury subs. He gets back out there, and the effort was just huge from him.
That's all we wrote here for the Open Final. Stay tuned for the Women's Division Finals. Toronto Sixers and Vancouver Traffic, the 1 and 2 seeds going at it. That will take place not too long from now, Clay.
Yeah, we'll be with you shortly. That final starting in 10 minutes. We'll take a break and be back with you shortly. Goodbye.